Oh my God, I started on time. What is going on? Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. We're here, we're out there, we're doing the thing. What is up, everyone? How you doing out there? This is Solar Gray, the Cinematic Sorcerer, and welcome to the dark side of the room. And today, we are going to be talking about some fun stuff, some interesting stuff, and some other stuff that makes people go, huh, I never thought about it that way. But I've been on this kick, and I figure, you know what, guys? I will get you guys on that kick along with me so that you guys can check out some other stuff. Now, we got a lot of stuff, and I mean a lot of stuff, coming down the pike. So many things I want to talk to you guys about today before we really get started into the show. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, what's up to everybody out there on YouTube? That's right. We are actually live simultaneously. I'm going to give people a little bit, just a little bit, just a little taste, just a little bit of a taste, depending on, the stuff we got going and showing them all that jazz. But if you guys want to be part of this show, that's real simple. What you can do is you can leave a message in the chat right here. And also, and this is a really big thing, you can open up your email and send me a message at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. And with that, I'll be able to talk to you guys, and who knows? Our conversation may spurn a topic for the show. You never quite know, and all that stuff. But you can also get a hold of us over on the social media that everyone has, specifically Twitter and Instagram at Back in the Deck. That's again BACKINTHEDECK. And if you're part of that wretched hive of scum and villainy known as Facebook, then head on over to Deckers on the Book. And with Deckers on the Book, I can tell you right now, let's see here. Yeah, there. Oh man, look at that. I didn't even realize that the music ain't on. See, I'm still, I started on time and there was always something going on. So, yeah, with that, I gotta say, hang on a minute. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That's what we do. So yeah, with that though, I gotta say, yeah, what's up? That was for editing purposes. Yeah, but thank you guys for showing up. And if you guys like what you see here on the channel, you like talking with me, you like the conversations that we have and the stuff that we are talking about, well, if you get any value out of this whatsoever and you want to help keep us alive, real simple. Subscribe to the channel, okay? Just subscribe. If you are here on Twitch, then subscribe using your Amazon Prime account, all right? Your Prime account, that'll get you going. That'll hook you up on that particular front. And, yeah, that is a really easy way to help us out because it won't cost you a penny or a dime or a nickel or any other currency that no one uses anymore. Isn't that fun? And again, if you really get value out of the stuff that we're saying and the stuff that we are doing and all of that jazz, the easiest way to do that, the easiest way, or should I say, the most direct way to do that is real simple. Scroll down, just scroll down underneath all of this stuff. Well, how can I put this? You can hit that little button that says Patreon, and that will take you all the way over here. See, I'm making it so easy for you, real quick. Just over at patreon.com/BID_P, and that'll take you here to the Patreon, where you can help us stay alive for as little as $1 a month. That's less than a candy bar. Less than a candy bar. But you know what? If you're willing to go as much as a lunch a month, then join the royalty tier. Just one lunch with a friend. That's all I'm saying. And that actually really puts us over the top. It helps us out with our community outreach service, setting up the 3D printers and the game clubs and community centers in underserved areas, because that is what we are really here for, yo. And of course, our patrons at the $20 tier get shouts out at every single show that we do, such as Queen Laura Holton, Queen Jennifer Kroll, King Jason Hines, King Christopher Chalmers, and of course our ace in the hole, Shaylee Watson. So, with all of that, I want to say what's up, and again, let me give a shout out to my folks down there in the chat, all my little lurkers, like F Top Player, Neon Arlecchino holding it down. The War Mistress is here. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you're here, because we are talking the stuff that is so up your alley. And honestly, I like having a heavyweight watching the show. That's kind of cool. The Red Sage is here, and of course, our boy, you guys might know him as the Ruthless Wonder, not a Ruthless Wonder, from the Metropolis, Attila Khan. All right, what is going on? That's Khan. All right, so what is going on, everybody? What is up? And thank you for coming in today. All right, that is a big thing. That's okay. You're working, you're listening, you're doing the thing. You are one of the busiest gamers I have ever met in my life. I would meet more busy gamers, but they're too busy for me to meet them. So that's the thing. I ain't tell. No, we don't snitch here. Okay, we ain't snitching. We don't even like the self-snitching that comes with hip hop culture. You know what I'm talking about? So anyway. Today I want to talk about quite a few things. Now, as you guys know, we have been on this kick about tabletop miniatures, okay? And there's a lot of controversy out there concerning the Games Workshop company, but I'm not going on a rant or a tirade, because there's so much out there, and there's so much good, all right? So much good out there. I will say, the Primaris thing, come on, guys. But that's about it. That's about as far as I'm going with the negativity on that today. As a lot of you guys who are longer to the channel know, I really cut my teeth as a modeler and a painter on War Machine from Privateer Press. But I want to talk about skirmish games, using miniatures for your RPG. And this is a really big one, the idea of naked versus painted. All right, so let's get into that. And of course, you guys know the second half of the show, that's when we get deep about life stuff. You know what I'm talking about? But yeah, if you guys are new, what are tabletop miniatures? Well, some people would say they are um they are miniature representations of things in life. All right, they're little things that we use and that we paint and create and really work on our art stuff to say, you know what, this is what we want to do. This is the stuff we're talking about. I like making stuff. I like doing all that jazz. Okay, and we end up making stuff that looks like this and all that stuff. That's actually the hobby haul right now. Because I'm getting stuff together for battle reports. Hey, thank you, Red Sage. Raid. Oh yeah, raid. We're gonna get raid. I feel. Oh yeah, look at that. What's up? What's up, guys? Hey. But really, it's playing with toys. All right, let's be real about that. We're playing with toys. But these are the toys that we make, so we get to put. Oh, thank you, Draconic Dritz. That's cool. Hey, you know what? I'm a drow. All right, that's cool. Actually, I'm not a drow. I'm just a human wizard. Anyway, so we make terrain, we make characters, we make scenery, we make a whole bunch of different stuff, and we love doing it. I mean, we have so many things. A lot of people talk about their big gray pile of shame. I like to talk about my empty bottles of triumph. That's right, I've used so many paints. Um, I've used things like dungeon tiles. I've got, that's right. Oh, you know, the 3D printed stuff. Um, these I'm really happy with this. Of course, our $50 patrons, y'all know what I'm talking about. This is actually going out in the mail like tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Because yeah, this dice roller here, oh, look at that. That's part of the king tier, you know. So, yeah, I am all about the toys and the sculptures and all that stuff. Um, Although I want to talk about the two levels of painting, okay? Um, I got to talk about the elephant in the room first, though. And this is the great big controversy of naked, table ready, and parade ready. La la, Cthulhu talking. Relay, relay. Sorry, I don't have nine tongues. All right, my tongue is. I don't have nine tongues. I don't have a mouth that's 8 feet wide. All right, it's an alien language. It's way past me. But yeah, so there are three levels of minis that people talk about. We are talking naked, naked. Oh, look at this. Not to be confused with the gray pile of shame, which tends to be the big pile of sprues of things we haven't painted. You guys want to have a little bit of fun? Yeah, a little bit of fun. I want you guys to take a look at the table real quick. Yeah, look at that. Look at that table. Keep dropping the mouse. And I use a trackball, so when I drop it, it like goes all out and all that stuff. But yeah, so you know, but then we talk about the great pile of shame. This is just a handful of my shame. All right, this is my shame. Um, Bunches and bunches of stuff that we have piled up that we haven't even glued together yet. All right, why? Because we always end up going, "Oh, that's awesome! I got some ideas," and then when we get home, we're like, "Oh, well, sleep time." Um, so yeah. Uh, oh no. That's not my whole pile, Sage. All right, that is not my whole pile. That's just a handful. And I got big hands. I'm a 6'4" bass player. Um, don't get me wrong. I know a lot of gamers out there, that have that have rooms full of the gray piles. Now I see you. I see you, War Mistress. I see you, Red Sage. I know lots of people, especially because I work with so many stores, where the gray pile of shame is as large as I am. All right. Like one of these days, they're going to have a contest of some sort. Hopefully, it's trivia so that I can win a pile of uncut sprues or my body weight in someone's gray pile of shame, especially since I play so many miniature agnostic. That would be awesome. Okay. um, mm, so, yeah, armor is made out of gray stone. I'm not gonna lie, I've got so many cosplay pieces made out of sprue goo. It's a thing. At least props. So yeah, and that is before getting to the pile of shame that we create with our 3D printers. Because let's face it, it's the 21st century. They're going for like $100 right now. So for um, less than say, I don't know, a furniture pack for your dungeon tiles, or less than a lot of starter packs for certain games out there. I'm not just talking Games Workshop. You know, Privateer Press has a $100 starter set. There are $100 board games out there. You can end up getting your own resin 3D printer. All right. So, yeah, we build our piles. All right. But I don't want to focus on the pile of shame. Okay. Because we all have it. That was just me being performative saying, I get it, guys. I got my own. Um, no, what I want to talk about when it comes to the tabletop miniatures, um, and this is leading into the big subject that I was talking about today, or the medium-sized subject, are the three levels of miniatures. Okay, these, um, these are some miniatures I popped out for Grimdark Future and One Page Rules. Okay, I printed these guys up, but look at them. They're so naked. They've got no verve. They've got no passion. They've got that. I mean, really. I mean, all it's asking for is a local paint job with simple colors, understandable ways of doing it. Yes, I've been watching a lot of Kitchen Nightmares, and it's just that, but it's so naked. It's bland, you know. Um, and truthfully, when it comes to those types of things, I am never here to pour shame on anybody. All right. Number one, I am about playing. I am so about playing games. And let's be real, there's a lot of board games out there now that come with tabletop. All right, that was a good one. That was a good one, Vixen. Yes, dollop of matte finish, and good, easy. You know, um, but yeah, um, there are a lot of board games out there that come with miniatures. You know, if you pick up something like Zombicide or the Fallout skirmish game or so even Tales from the Yawning Portal, you know, you end up getting all of these very cool miniatures. I saw one game from a friend of mine. Yeah, like Mansions of Madness, Fire Team Zero. They come with amazing things, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm not one of those dark, edgy gamers who, if he played 40K, it would be nothing but chaos. No, 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 I'm not that guy. But I do like having monster miniatures around because my good guys gotta fight something, right? Yeah, my good guys gotta fight something. So I love the monsters. Okay, I'm a little beat out, not gonna lie, but I do love eldritch horrors that are neither pieces of lunch meat nor auto parts, but something hideous and unholy from betwixt the twain that man should not know. And I'd say for the 20 something years, I have been playing with miniatures as far as gaming. I've been gaming for about 35, but most of it was theater of the mind. Keep that in the front of your head. I'm not gonna say keep that in mind seriously. Um, but in that time, I've come across so many people that are like, I can't play at a table unless the miniatures are painted. And I'm like, dude, relax, man, because the game mechanics work the same. Or maybe I just won't play with you. It's no big deal. But yeah, it's it's a real thing. Um, and then there are some people, all right, and I'm in this category number one. I am really in this, which is when it comes to playing tabletop miniatures game. That's any skirmish game like Grimdark Future, Necromunda, got Fire Team Zero, War Machine, anything from Osprey Games. um, you know, there is Table Ready, which is they're not naked, they're not the greatest paint job in the world, but you know what? You know what they are. You know what they are. Um, and I'm big on that. I go table ready, primarily because of my theater background and my broadcast background. Okay, because real talk, um, I just want to make sure I can tell things apart on the table, and I don't want to be that guy. And by that guy is this. Real talk, I'm not a big fan of the WYSIWYG rule, the what you see is what you get, because of the amount of money that a person has to shell out to make sure that they have all the right pieces. I'm fine proxying. Um, and I trust the people I play against to play fairly and not to cheat in order to win the game. But see, that's me, and that's the fact that I tend to only play home games or games in the park. Okay, that is a really big thing. One of the games that I play, well, one of the model neutral games that I play, yeah, I ain't gonna lie. And I know a lot of you guys are gonna dig this. Um, I got out of seriously playing tournament games, like I said, and the last tournament game I played severely was Hero Clicks. But that means, much like Magic cards and the gray piles of shame, I got loads of pre-painted miniatures just laying around. I mean, seriously, just laying around. Most of them are superheroes and supervillains, but I did go through this phase where I was getting a bunch of cheap monsters for like $1 a mini. So I ended up getting some of these guys, and I'm like, hey, those look sci-fi and all that stuff. So that is what I will use for my sci-fi and all of that stuff. So I'm like, hey, I'm playing a 40K knockoff right now. So yeah, they look like cultists to me. Moving on, you know. And it's a real thing. It's something I do. Um, you know, like again with my love of monsters, I got these guys, and I'm like, yeah, look at those guys. I don't even know. Well, they're from the Aquaman comic, and I'm like, yeah, they're good little monsters. Look at them. Yeah, 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 yeah. So all of these things are table ready. Okay, just table ready. They got some paint on them. You know what they look like from 4 feet away. Now let's get to playing. You know, and then there's the level which, real talk, guys, and this is something that I adore people like Jeremy at Black Magic Crafts, Tanya, the War Mistress, the people at miniwargaming.com. I'm talking the biggest dude is like Tabletop Witchcraft. Oh my God, that guy. And these are people that come up with stuff um, that are what's called parade ready. And this is these, no joke, these are display pieces. I mean, these things just look amazing. I feel like I'm looking through someone's vintage guitar collection, and he's going, "No, don't touch it. No, don't look at it. Don't no." And the parade, the parade ready stuff is the stuff that you see on the front of the box. Okay, we're talking front of the box, covers of the book. Um, these are the paint jobs that sell the game. All right, and that's a real big thing. Now, since most of the people here, you know, okay, you know what? I'm with it. I'm with it. Like, no display pieces in my house. If you can't touch them and pick them up and go, then I don't know what we here for. You know, my kid came over at one particular time and saw my display. Well, it's not a display. I just whenever I'm ready at the drop of a hat to give a game demo, which means I've got teams. You know, I've got like fire teams, or 5 to 10 miniatures, good guys, 5 to 10 miniatures, monsters on my shelf. If somebody wants to know what playing with miniatures is like, okay. Um, so Um, and they came up and they were like, "Oh, these are cool." And I'm like, "This ain't a museum. Pick it up. Them's the toys. Them's toys." Um, as I said, I will be setting up um I will be setting up a different camera angle for this stuff. But yeah, I made all this stuff. I'm happy with what I made. You know. Um, But when people see me put it together and take it to a store or something like that, they will see me just throw the crap in the box. I'm like, look, man, I made this out of garbage. I can get more garbage, okay? Um, and that is all about it. And by the way, now that you guys have seen that shot, I'm letting you guys know that Hobby Hall is coming back. All right, I just have to work out where to properly place the cameras, so that you guys can see my hands. Um, in ways that would actually work a little better. Okay. Um, but yeah, so I'm all about that. All right. Now, when it comes to these three levels, naked, table ready, parade ready, mileage may vary. Okay? Not gonna lie, I enjoy making terrain and scenery. All right? I like making the set pieces, and I've said on this show at least 30 times, I do not love painting minis. I really don't. Primarily because I have parade ready in my head, but I don't have it in my hands, and I don't have it in my eyes. You know, I'm a middle-aged man. Things are starting to quit on me. But I like making stuff to where a kid looks at my table and says, "I want to play with that." You know, and that's cool. That is the line that I have decided for myself. And we all decide where we are. Um, I've been teaching my girlfriend how to paint miniatures, and the number one lesson that I always have to push to any new person is this: the best is the enemy of good enough. And the best is different from your best. Okay? Um, when I finally started enjoying painting miniatures, like I said, I don't love it, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. I learned from a dude who went to art school, um, is essentially the executive of the art department in a multi-million dollar corporation, because those were just the people, those were the people that could afford to play the games when I was out in Orange County, California. And his very first model came out parade ready. And I was mad. And then I'm like, wait, this guy spent $40,000 on art school. He knows color, he's got a steady hand, and he does art for a living. I am not on that level. Okay? And that's just real. So when I say the best is the enemy of good enough, I mean if you're trying to be the best, if you want people to look at your minis while you're not around and think that you live on a mountain somewhere with, you know, floating paintbrushes and perfectly mixed paints, yeah, let that go. You know, however, your best is not the enemy of good enough. All right? Do your best, but the number one thing is to know when the model is as done as you can do it. All right? And this comes on two levels. Two levels. Level one, this is all I've done. This is all I can do at this sitting. Because when you sit down and you start anything, you might have more energy today than you did yesterday, or you might have had more energy 3 days ago and you keep going, oh, I shouldn't be this tired. Why do I keep messing up this line? That is when you end up becoming what I and my painting friends call a painting a-hole. Okay? And that is when you're tired and you don't realize it, or you do kind of realize it, but you just gotta finish that one thing. Just that one thing. Uh, I just gotta finish that line. I just gotta get that dot in its eye, and then I can go to bed. No, go to bed. Come back at it tomorrow. And second, and I see this with a lot of new creators, it's done. Walk away. All right, think about what you learned on this one and apply those lessons to your next project. Because you can literally, like, if you play a war game, Kings of Wars, Warhammer 40K, Grimdark Future, most things from Avalon Hill, chances are you've got 60 figures to paint. You got 60, 70 figures to paint to get your stuff on the table. So if you're spending 4 hours per mini, 4 times 60 is 240 hours. 240 hours. That comes down to 6 work weeks before you can play the game that you spent all this money for. And if that is your jam, then don't listen to me. Don't change. Do your thing. Okay? Um, I'm a middle-aged man who hangs out with a bunch of adults, and finding time is sparse. It's a little bit scary. Okay? Um, So I go for table ready because, which means one day I'll probably have the skill sets to be parade ready because every one I speed paint, every single model that I speed paint, I get a little better. Um, and if I want to slow down my speed paint to a speed limit paint, um, I get a little better than I did last time. So eventually I might make something that's worthy of being in a motion picture. But that's not what I'm aiming for. I want to play the game with my little figures and go pew pew, rawr, for the blood god, bone for the bone throne, rawr, you know. Um, and yeah, that's a major thing. Um, in one of our first episodes of Hobby Hall, we talked about the color wheel, and we're gonna get back to that. Okay, if not this Friday, then next Friday. Like I said, I just got to play with camera angles. Problem: it has been way too cold for someone who grew up in Los Angeles out here in the studio. Um, by the time I'm done processing, I'm like, oh my god, it's so cold. And that makes it hard for me to think. Okay, but but yeah. So know where you're at, and you might be wondering why I talk about this. Well, we're making a few changes to the channel. Okay, um, I talk to you guys for 60 to 90 minutes a day about games. And I don't know if it's like this everywhere, but that is kind of my gaming experience. I don't want to say gaming life, it's my gaming experience. I love playing. Okay, I love playing. I love playing music. I love playing tag. I love playing tabletop games. And I talk to you guys a lot about being GMs, being hosts, setting up game days, figuring out what games are possible, just going through stuff. And as you guys know, I talk about having played or currently playing a lot of different games. I was telling someone the other day, I'm qualified to GM 8 different systems, and I'm talking 8 completely different dice systems just for tabletop role playing alone. Okay, for tabletop minis, I'm at about 5. Let's see. Um, the stuff from One Page Rules like Grimdark Future, um, Rangers of Shadow Deep, Frostgrave, Rangers of Shadow Deep, Frostgrave, and Stargrave, all the same game. Gaslands, DC Superheroes from Night Model Games, which goes immediately into the Batman miniature games, along with Marvel Crisis Protocol from Atomic Mass, uh, War Machine slash Hordes, and yeah, so that's like 6. That's 6 or 7. So that's a lot of games. Oh yeah, and HeroClix. So yeah, so that's a lot of games. That's a lot of games I know how to play. A lot of games I know how to sample and or give demos, and a lot of games I know how to teach. But y'all very rarely ever see me play anything, and that gets on my nerves. So I wanted to talk about battle reports, and we will do that shortly after this commercial break. All right, I will be right back, guys. Hey, what's up, guys? So, now I'm talking to the subscribers. What's up? Why can't I talk to the subscribers? Because y'all aren't getting commercials. um, I'm working on putting up one of those little bots that say stuff like this. I'm glad that you guys are here, but let's see. Sir Ixer, hey, thanks for sticking around. Sora Freedom 2730, thank you for being here. F Top Player, Attila Khan, Black and White Now in Color, Clever Little Vixen, Neon Arlecchino. Hey, thank you guys. Thank you guys for seriously holding it down here. I mean that. And yeah, I am bringing back Hobby Hall. I am bringing back the how-tos. Um, primarily because I want to show that anyone can cook. Anyone can cook. It's not just for the super elite upper middle class people that can afford all the best gear. You know? um, yeah, and don't get me wrong. All right, so, and we're back. So yeah, I want to talk about battle reports. I love, love battle reports. If you guys don't know what they are, it's simple. You type in the miniatures game that you like, and then put the word battle report behind it on YouTube, and you get to see two people playing a tabletop war game or a tabletop minis game. Um, and you get to watch how they play. And it's kind of like watching sports for me, except I'm not a competitive dude and I don't like root for people one way or another. And I've been watching battle reports for years from channels like One Mind Syndicate, Guerrilla Wargaming, Miniature Wargaming, Wylox Armory. I recently found one dude that's doing a solo um, he's doing a solo series of battle reports with a storyline, and I'm like, dude, I'm so doing that. What was her name? Wargamer Girl did amazing battle reports for War Machine and Hordes, and everybody wants to kind of do those things, and I don't do anything simply, unfortunately. So I've been working out my formula because one of the big things that I like doing with battle reports is I like watching a battle report of a game that I have not invested in yet. Primarily because money's tight, you know? Money is tight. Um, and a lot of these hobbies can be very, very expensive. So a starter box can cost like $100. That's $100 that should be going to my credit card bill or, to paying down the principal on my mortgage, that kind of thing. So, does this game get me hyped? All right. But the second thing, and this is a big thing, and this is where when I was trying to do HeroClix battle reports, I kind of wrapped everything into it, which is if my friends are into a game, and I have friends that are like gaming hipsters, right? So one day they'll be like, "Dude, you should try this game out." That's how I got into War Machine. And then like 2 weeks later, "Oh, you should check out this game. Oh, you should check out this game. Oh, you should check out this game." And I'm like, I don't have the money for all these starter kits, guys. I realize the fluff and the other stuff looks interesting to you, but you got another $70 to throw on Kickstarter. You got another 100 or something dollars to experiment with a game. I ain't got that. Most of my viewers ain't got that. So that's real talk. Um, so I'll tune into a battle report and I'll see how the game is played. I'll see how easy it is to follow and how quickly it is to learn. And if I do a battle report, it's I try and write them and edit them in ways that people that don't know what the game is about can watch a battle report and at least get the basic game mechanics. Okay? This is really big. And in order to do that, my models have to be at least recognizable, or as I like to say, good enough to be on camera, you know. So I do a lot of miniature painting, um, for table ready, a whole lot of speed painting. Um, and again, I do that because I want to spread the joy of play. All right, that's where I'm at. I want to be like, dude, this is fun to play with. Now, I'm not saying that there is no fun in crafting. There is, okay? If there wasn't, I wouldn't have a whole show dedicated to it. Um, but there are so many aspects of the hobby that we can engage in. I like practically every aspect of it. I don't like fierce competition. Don't get me wrong. I do not like the "I will break you." No, I don't like playing games with opponents that are like, "I will show you that your inferiority is inherent. And when I am done, you shall be a quivering mass of protoplasm on the ground, for I am superior at pew pew with little plastic figures." That's not my jam. Um, but it is for a lot of people. But the creativity, um, the what I like to call the time and energy investment. Okay, um, for those of us from the fiscally disenfranchised sector, um, and when it comes to that, when it comes to the bang for our buck, um, oh great. It's funny, my signal's been excellent this whole time, and now something weird is happening. Okay, am I back? Yeah, something weird was happening on my side. I'm not sure what it was. Are we okay? All right. I think we're okay. Are we okay? I think we're all right. So yeah, I'm gonna reload the page real quick. Reload. Okay. Hanging in there, man. We're gonna load your activity. All right, please do. All right, there we go. Cool. And now my signal went unstable, but that's fine. Um, just in case, I know my chat is a little quiet, so reload the page. There we go. Ah, that's all right. That's okay. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, um, you know, when it comes to doing a lot of this stuff, we could really use value for money. How much fun am I going to get out of this for the money that I put into it? I remember when War Machine first came out, and I was working at a store in Orange County, California. And I was talking to a couple of kids. I think the oldest one was like 12. It was like 12, 9, and 6. And they ended up getting into War Machine. But the 12-year-old wisely pulled me aside and said, okay, Solar, before I ask my dad for any of this money, how long is this game going to be around? Like, is this going to be a thing? Or is this just going to be like a one-time purchase? And my heart grew 8 sizes. I'm like, look at you. You know, um, I'm like, that is the right question to ask. And I told him that I was all in for the duration. And I ended up playing that game for 15 years. And I played it with him for four until I had to move away. But it's still going strong in that area. You can always get a game of War Machine and Hordes um, out in that area. So, as I was saying, mm-hmm, um, whew. Okay, hang on. Yeah, sound is messing up. How's that for sound? Yeah, is that getting better? I ended up having to turn my sound down a little bit earlier. I've been in meetings all day. Um, yeah, hopefully that's better. So yeah, well, volume seems to have dropped. I think I fixed it from my end. Cool. Hopefully that's better. Um, so yeah, like I was saying, I accidentally turned the thing down. Um, so when it comes to the value, um, one set of value is the big gray pile of shame because you get that stuff and then you have something to do. All right. Um, but with the battle reports, which I want to start filming, I'm going to be doing a lot of individual playthrough. Those will probably be up over on YouTube. Okay, and um, as you guys know, um, streamed games are pretty much the same as battle reports, just for tabletop role playing. You get what I'm saying? Um, and that's a cool thing. That's a really cool thing. So I am going to be doop 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 running two more fifth edition D&D games with two different sets of players here on the channel. One is going to be every other Wednesday. Starting a week from today, we've got session point 0.5, and I don't want to televise that. Or, sorry, I don't want to stream that. God, I'm old. Yeah, session point 0.5 is tonight. And session 1 for that game is going to be next Wednesday. And session 1 um, for the chat tumblers is coming tomorrow, and I'll still be doing Warp Tumblers Dark Matter once a month, so you guys can actually see how this stuff is done. And I've had some people talk to me saying, you've got so many new people. I'm just not interested in watching someone learn, and I'm like, well, I'm sorry. That I'm sorry you're not willing to support my channel because I'll let you guys know. There is so much content out there for veteran players of every single game. Every single game, at least the popular ones. Um, I watch a lot of playthrough streams, at least while I'm working. I listen to them. And there are podcast upon podcast of people that have been playing fifth edition since it came out 7 years ago. You've got guys like Nerdarchy who have been playing since second edition. You know, um, but one of the reasons that I reached out here on Twitch is because there are a lot of people out there that might be interested in getting in, and they can watch Critical Role or Dungeon Dudes and stuff like that. Um, and I'm not gonna lie, Seth Sarkowski, Dungeon Dude, some of my favorite people when it comes to instruction for new players. Um, there's also a channel called Don't Stop Thinking, and and I want to be that for people, especially for women, people of color, LGBTQ plus, the disabled, and the fiscally disenfranchised, because I watch a lot of that stuff, and one of the major things I see is when difficulties have come about, a lot of the times the solution is just to buy more. you know, um, you're having a hard time winning in 40K and you're tired of getting beaten up, then stop playing Eldar and pick up Primaris. And while you're picking up Primaris, you should get some tanks too. And it's like all I'm hearing is cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Um, if you wanna do stuff with War Machine with giant robots and stuff like that, then you need to buy these 8 sets of infantry guys, and that'll keep you going. And I'm just hearing cha-chink, cha-chink, cha-chink. If you're liking to play Dungeons and Dragons and you want to start, you got to buy 20 of the 50 books that are out, and that way you can keep up with everyone. And I'm like, 20 times $50 each. That's a lot of cha-chink, cha-chink, cha-chink. So yeah, I stick to a lot of the beginning stuff, um, because cost is a real barrier. It's a real game. Um, yeah. Yeah, letting people who don't get a chance to play is what BitP is about. You know what? You are the most senior Decker here, Decker for life. Um, so yeah, that's a big thing. And thank you for noticing that. Um, so yeah, so when it comes to battle reports, I do plan on filming battle reports very soon. Okay, very, very soon. But to do that, I need to paint up a few more miniatures and get more stuff together and things like that. Because I wanted to talk about today, when it comes to miniatures and battle reports, ways to properly use them so that they are not a pain in the butt. Okay, I mean, they can be. Let's be real. Um, any of you miniature wargamers out there that are still listening, back me up if you can. Um, a couple of the hidden costs when it comes to doing anything with miniature tabletop stuff. I'm not just talking the painting of the miniatures. I'm talking terrain, vehicles, transportation, and the biggest bane that nobody ever tells anyone about when they're trying to get somebody into their hobby, storage. Okay? Those are all really big costs. And not to mention the use at the table. Um, I know when I want to play a miniature war game, I stick to skirmish games now because I tend to deal with people who don't do this for a living, and I live about a 20-minute drive away from every gamer I know. That means um, it's 20 minutes for them to get to me and 20 minutes for them to get back. Um, so they're already not liking the fact that they have to drive. And I drive to them, but that also costs gas money. So, how do I manage those things? How does anybody who has to go somewhere? In the days before COVID, we used to be able to go to game stores, and game stores already had terrain and stuff, so you could have your road bag, um, with the teams that you like playing. I like to pick two or three and just pick up the go bag and go. got my dice, got my things, just good. Um, but what do we do to circumvent those those costs? Okay, yeah, what do we do to do those costs? Um, when we transfer our minis, when we transfer our scenery. Now, this isn't just a plug, okay? I have been working on a system to make terrain easily transportable. um, because again, up until about 6, 7 months ago, I have been in apartments for the past 20 something years. So, where do I put it? And my girlfriend has a car, I have a motorcycle. So, how can I pack up my stuff, strap it to the bike, and actually go play a game? That has been the conundrum. And we're going to get to all that once I relaunch the hobby hall. All right. Um, but when it comes to doing these things, especially when filming battle reports, we don't just have the terrain or the minis, we also have the camera equipment and the computers. So that's a lot. Mm. Oh man, it looks like I'm stuck interacting with the chat a lot today. What do you do with a what do you do with a painted mini halfway through pandemic? You know, you put it in your case and you throw it in the trunk and you throw it in your boot, then put it in a case and throw it in your boot, then put it in a case and throw it in your boot, and set up in a park in a public park. I don't know. I don't do pirate shanties. That's my kids' thing. Um, but yeah, so real talk. Um, I know a lot of people that when I was playing, they loved taking 3 hours to set up the game because they're like, oh, we are in this for the day. Like, pack a lunch, you here. You are here. Um, so yeah, I would pack a lunch and it would be an entire day's ordeal. And I'm like, I just want to play. But it would take 2.5 hours. Thank you. And set up in a car park. Okay. Um, I would when it came to that, it's like how much scenery do you put down? How much do you have to carry? How long is it going to take to set up the board? How long is it going to take to pick your teams? So I wanted to go through a couple of things, just a couple of things, um, to make all this stuff work better. And this is coming from a DM, a mini war gamer, a mini skirmish gamer, and a dude that films stuff. All right. Um, if you are the host, okay, if you're the host, um, set up stuff. Okay, set up stuff before your people get there. All right. I know if you're playing a mini war game, it'll be like, well, we're supposed to set up terrain and they'll have rules and stuff like that. Cool. Have that terrain available. Okay. If you keep it in a bin, make sure that those bins are organized. I tend to organize by size, but mileage may vary. You can organize your terrain and stuff pretty easily. Now, one of the things I do, and I touched upon it a moment ago, is I have 3 or 4 pre-set up teams, if nothing else, on paper, um, before everything starts. So I can just grab my little tin and put the minis on the table, and I'll have a card with all their stats and all that stuff for whatever it is we're doing. Um, yeah, seriously speaking, um, because when I get people over, like I've been teaching people how to play games to help me out with battle reports for the past few weeks. And the toughest part is creating teams. All right. This is part of the hobby that a lot of veteran stuff, of veteran players, um, take for granted because they know. All right. But we'll get to that in just a minute. We're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll be back in a minute. Yep. Pre-roll ad breaks. Oh, commercials. Hang on. I'm getting good. Good. Something is going on with my computer today. Because right now my mouse is all frozen up. Oh, I was just too far away. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, let's check you guys out in the chat today. Y'all are talking. Yeah, rescuing secondhand Warhammer armies to show people that you don't have to take out a mortgage to play the game. Not for minis, not for minis. But the company is making it, so you got to do that. You do got to do that with freaking workbooks and backdoor hacks. Like, what books do you buy? What books don't you buy? What codexes do you get? Um, but yeah, there are cost cutting things. Right now, I want to talk about time and effort. But let's see who else is going on in the chat. Clever little Vixen holding it down. Commander Root, you're back. Hey, what's going on? F top player. I hope you guys are really having I hope you guys are getting something out of this. Um, excuse me, Sora Freedom, 2730. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad that you guys are here, and I'm glad that you've decided to join us on this little thing. Yep, still basically slap teams together based on characters instead of planning on how they should work. Oh yeah, yeah. There is always, always, um, yeah, always ways to slap together stuff. Welcome back, guys. Um, so yeah, what I was talking about was I would slap a team together, if not on paper, um, if not just on paper, I would I would pull my team. Like with Hero Clicks, I'm like, I'm gonna play this team of Justice League, or I'm gonna play this team of the X Men, or today I'm gonna play the Masters of Evil. um, and I would just put the teams together. Um, when you are hosting, what's important is to have all of your stuff squared away. Okay. Let's say you're a GM and you want to use terrain. All right. One of the things that I do, and this is what I do at the community centers, or at least I did before the days of COVID, was if I had them running in a dungeon encounter, I would put together the dungeon with my tiles and all that stuff, and I would put them on 1 foot by 1 foot boards of masonite. That stuff in the back of a clipboard, and I would be like, okay, this is this level of the dungeon, this is this level of the dungeon, and I would keep everything covered so that when their minis went through those places, they could be like, oh, well, there's a room over here, it seems. Okay, well, we shall look at that room over there. And it worked. It worked really, really well. And then, I did it floor by floor by floor. So when they found the staircase and went down, I could pull the next one and the next one. Um, when I have friends coming over to do the tabletop minis, because a lot of my friends are vaccinated, ha ha ha. Um, I set up the board. I set up the board. It's out there, and I used to have a bunch of friends who were just so distrustful because they were used to people pulling every trick in the book at tournament, including psychological tricks, like stalling before even starting the game. So you start the game tired and they can beat you because you're not playing at full mast. I don't like that kind of play, and I don't like the culture that it engenders, because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm using these tiles. Well, I don't know if I like this board because I know that we're playing on a 4 foot board and you've got these 2 foot by 2 foot things, but I know that the creases are at 2 feet. And I'm like, dude, stop. Just stop. It's not that critical, you know? Um, so I would set up the board. I would just set up the board and we would play. That's all. Set up the board, play the game, call it a day. Um, I still gotta fund my Battle Sisters. Uh, um, and when I went to, I used to have a weekly game at a store, and I would go there, and the board would already be set up. And just to make sure we could have as many games as possible within our time, I would have two different factions set up, and we might be able to get 4 games in. One game with what we brought, one game with the other team we brought, then another game with the first team revised, then another game with the second team revised, and it was a good time, you know? Um, But we wouldn't have been able to do that if we were sitting down and coming up with things and number crunching and going through all those things to try and make a parade ready army, so that we can win. No, no, no. I mean, we were just playing. Um, this is something that I developed way back, way back in the days of board gaming. Yeah, where you would pull out the risk board or diplomacy, or sometimes even Game of Thrones, and you would have to sit down and distribute all the little markers, and that would take a bloody hour. you know Now with all my games, like, anybody that's played with me in real life is like, dude, this guy's efficient. I'll sit down and I'll have like all the teams together in a bag. I'm like, here you go, now we pull this, now we pull this, now we pull this, now we pull this. Cool, let's play. Because a lot of people say that setup is part of the experience. I personally don't believe that. And this is where you guys are about to at me, and that's fine. I believe that playing is what people have come for, not setup and not creation. Okay? Um, when I'm running a role-playing game, I don't just have a session 0, I have a session 0 and a session point 5, so people can get all the creativity and the tweaks and all that stuff out of the way. So that when we start running the game, we start running the game, you know? And we get in to the thing that we bought into. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any questions. That doesn't mean that there's not going to be any setup. But what that does mean is that the setup tends to be done by the host while everyone else is in transit. Okay? Um, it's a thing. Now don't get me wrong. I don't go, yes, I have made you all drinks. Have a cocktail. Would anyone like any cucumber finger sandwiches? Nah, I'm not dealing like that. But if people want to come over and play, the board will be set up. I'm a big dude. I'm really big on hey, what games do you want to play out of these five? Now a lot of the times there are newer games, and sometimes the encounter will be about learning how to play the game for everybody. I know on my bookshelf, I have a copy of Labyrinth that has been sitting there for like 2.5 years that I've yet to learn how to play. Kind of need a playthrough on that one, huh? um, so dealing with that kind of thing, I have found in all of my years of building community and teaching games that it's on the teacher to be prepared with the materials that they are teaching. Um, it's on the host to be prepared for when the people get there. Like I said, a lot of games, Grimdark Future, Warhammer 40K, War Machine, Beast of War, all that stuff, those have rules for placing scenery. Okay? But you can't place the scenery if when the person gets there, you got to run to the basement and find the bin and then bring the bin up and then rummage through. You know what I mean? I like to have everything out there and displayed going, this is the terrain I got. What do you want to play with? And some people like thickly placed board terrain. I don't. Um, a lot of people like maybe only one or two pieces. I'm not there either. I'm very much in that middle. Um, but yeah, so what are some of your guys' thoughts on this? When it comes to setting up games, playing games, things like that. Um, like I said, mileage may vary, and I might just sound like an old Grocknard. But yeah, um, when it comes down to that, I think that the days run smoother if there's someone who knows how to go, someone who knows how to play the game, um, and someone that has all the stuff set up clearly so everyone can see it. Um, and if you're the GM and using miniatures, because let's face it, Open Lock, Dragon Lock, Dwarven Forge, Open Forge, even the stuff, even the dungeon tiles that my patrons get. It can slow down the game. It can slow down the experience when you're searching out the pieces and going, wait, I got to populate the board. Um, populate the board being, I gotta build the room, I gotta put the walls out. Oh, where did I put those walls? Where are the minis that, okay, they're gonna get a monster in here. Where's the monster mini? Now, I have all of that assigned. Um, and truth, Ziploc bags are cheap, y'all. They're real cheap. So I think about the encounter that I have set up for them. I think about the two or three other encounters that they might run into if they decide to go off of the plot line. Um, and it's all prepped. It's all there. Okay. Um, so yeah, that's the thing I like doing. So keep all that stuff in mind. And when it comes down to it, just like everything I say comes down to this point. Know your purpose and know the purpose of the people around you. This takes sincere and honest communication. But if that sincere and honest communication has been gotten, everything runs smooth. Smooth like well made custard. You know what I mean? Let's see. We got the War Mistress. If someone is coming to play at your house, everything is set up and ready to play when they get there. Man, if I could get to Canada. um, seriously, if I can get out to your neck of the woods, that would be awesome. Um, just sit down, play a game, and then go, wow, you kicked my butt. Now let's see them orcs. Daka daka. You know, um, but speaking of sincere and honest communication, yeah, this is the deep part of the show. All right. I wanted to talk to you guys. Well, deep, sincere, honest communication. Today, I was thinking about something, and one of the things that got me is I don't know how it's like overseas. Okay. I really don't. I haven't left the United States for like 20 years. Um, but one thing I've noticed, mm, one thing I've noticed is the idea of sincere communication seems to be intimidating to people now. And I've been giving this a lot of thought, because honestly, um, I'm a pretty sincere guy. All right. In truth, none of these shows are scripted. you know, I've got, I may, I have one little thing on my notepad saying these are the main topics we're going to discuss for today. And outside of that, everything is just my life experience. And I'm being honest with you guys because there's no point of lying when you're on the internet. You can look up everything. um, so I've always been, well, not always, I think around 20, I became a very, very straight shooter. And by straight shooter, I don't mean I'm mean for the sake of being mean. I'm just like, boom, here we go. There we go. It's a thing. Look, I'm saying this, and yeah, that's about it. Um, hmm. So when I talk about stuff, it is sincerely how I feel. Sincerely what my life experiences are. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, sometimes they're awesome, sometimes they're great. Terrible, but great. And I've come to learn in the 20th or 21st century, people get really intimidated by that. Um, it's an interesting conundrum because when I was growing up, it was nothing but straight shooters, if nowhere else in my household. We lived under axioms that I still use on this channel. Like, if you don't know any better, you can't do any better. If you don't know, you can't fix it if you don't know what's broken. Um, you can't improve something if you don't know how it works, you know. And in this day and age, it seems like just the idea of being honest and sincere just scares people. Now, I can go on this rant about how corporate structure and corporate communication methods, in order to maximize profits and minimize outputs, have trained us in such a way where anything that might benefit us ends up getting sidelined and all that jazz. Um, but we all know this, okay? Here's the thing that I want to bring to you guys today, right? All the stuff that we are doing with two types of people. People that we are forced to be around, classmates, coworkers. People that we want to, oh, family. Um, or people that we want to be around, okay? Our friends. Now, I don't mean friends in the same way that your parents used to think that everyone who was in your grade was your friend when you were growing up. I mean the people that we actually say, you know what, I like the cut of your jib and I want you as part of my life. So I will try and make time for you. Um, and that's a big thing. But lately, and by lately I mean like over the past decade or so, it's become very difficult for people to process sincerity. Okay. Um, when you look at someone and say, no, really, I like who you are. I enjoy playing with you. Or, and I went through this with someone not too long ago. I talked to them about something and I'm like, so what do you recommend? And they're like, oh, for you, I would recommend this. And the next time I saw them, I'm like, you know what? You were right about that thing. Check it out. And they were like, and I'm like, what? You're surprised that I took your counsel? I don't seek people's counsel unless I respect them enough to listen to and truly consider what they have to say. I don't just shine them on and I don't do anything to make anyone feel better if I got nothing to offer. You know, if a person's feeling down and I want to actually make them feel better, I will try and make them feel better. But I don't do anything to save people's egos, and that might actually be kind of intimidating these days. But what I always am is sincere. You know, um, I like people. You know, and I hear a whole bunch of cynical people going, "Well, I like persons, but I don't like people." Well, you better learn to like people because you're part of the human race, and you can't get rid of all of them. You know, um, now that doesn't mean that I approve of or appreciate all behavior. There is a whole lot of behavior that I staunchly disapprove of, and I'm very, very clear about it. By meaning, I go, dude, that thing that you did was not cool. That thing that you said was not cool. This is why, and I would like to know what you meant, and we can find a way to communicate it better. That that is just that's what I'm like. Okay, that is me all the time. Okay, um, cannot tell you how many arguments I've gotten into with my significant other on that one. But I do get that sincerity and genuine behavior is becoming more and more rare. Okay, but this is my call to action to you guys, you deckers. As rare as it may be, make sure that it doesn't die with you. You know, be that sincere, be that clear. You know, I talk a lot about shapes. Shapes. You know, there were a lot of people in my circle for a long time, but not very many in my corner. You know, um, and the people that are in your corner will stay in your corner a lot longer if they know the trueness of who you are, how you behave, how you think. You know, a person can't accept that which they don't know. And I see that a lot, especially with younger people because of all the axioms that millennials were brought up with. Like, if you can't take me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. I'm like, then make your worst better. You know, um, hell, just make your normal a little bit better. I can take you at your worst. Or if I can't take you at your normal, though, we got a problem. So up your normal game. Um, But when it comes to that, there is a whole lot of behavior that people get into in order to avoid sincerity and realness. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I get it. I know how scary it is. When you put yourself out there, you're vulnerable. And by definition, vulnerable means open to injury. And nobody wants to get hurt. But here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. Capability doesn't equal intent, and possibility is not certainty. Okay? There is a certainty that states a person will go through pain in their life. Okay? My great grandmother, born in 1892, used to tell me that there is no such thing as growth without pain. All right, just plain growing hurts. Um, I shot up 6 inches between the seventh and eighth grade. And truth, yeah, that hurt like hell. Um, but I grew, I got bigger. Um, and I get that pain is scary. Okay, but pain does not mean doom. Just like being vulnerable does not equal pain. We'll be right back. Yep. So, what's going on, subscribers? I got all deep, but that's what we do here. All right, that's what we do here on the channel. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. It is a real thing, and I really like talking about this type of thing because I think that there needs to be more content out there that states that it's okay to be human. Um, and superhuman seems to be this unfair standard that everybody holds themselves to, although they can never provide an example of it working. You know, I'll get to that after we're done with the commercial break because this is my chance to give back. This is an older man's experience type thing. So yeah, I just like, I'm glad my ads are only a minute. Hey, what's up? We're back. So, like I was saying, the possibility for pain does not mean the certainty. And even though pain might exist, it doesn't equal doom. Okay? And this is huge. A lot of people are um, what's the term? Risk averse. That's the thing. Um, you know, yeah, a lot of people are like, if I put myself out there, I could get hurt. And it's like, yeah, but life experience has told me that if you don't put yourself out there, you wither. All right? Um, I don't want to give like any old Buddhist proverbs or anything like that. But what I will say is this, okay? Um, I talk about the expectation of expertise a lot on this channel, primarily because it makes me sick. Okay? I hate the expectation of expertise. Um, in my experiences, my travels, my adventures, I have seen the expectation of expertise in action so often, but always under the motivation of keeping people out. You know, um, I know that there's a lot of people that are tired and upset at what they had to go through to get to where they are. I live in the United States, okay? And this is the place that says, sure, an entire generation is drowning in debt. They shouldn't have taken out the loans. I paid off all my stuff, or I paid off my debt and I didn't get forgiveness, so why shouldn't they? I don't like living life out of spite, okay? Especially spite for people I've never met. Um, but what I will say is to put yourself out there, to say, I don't know, please teach me. Or, I don't know what I'm doing, how'd you do that? Um, um, it seems very vulnerable. It seems kind of frightening, you know. But sincerely speaking, the people who are worth your time will actually consider your sincerity. They will take it into account when dealing with you, you know? Um, and sincerity doesn't always mean good, okay? Don't always mean good. When I am angry, I am sincerely angry, and I can itemize it in ways that would make ranty stand up comedians proud. But at the same time, when I'm enthusiastic, it's real. But one thing I will say is for those of you out there that don't quite know it, sincerity is contagious. Okay? Um, Dealing with sincerity, and when I say dealing with, I don't mean dealing with it like it's a condition, but interacting with sincerity and honesty at all times. If nothing else is less work, it literally is easier in the long term. It may not feel that way in the short term, okay? Um, but I can tell you, the only people who ever have to figure out what I mean are people that aren't used to dealing with someone who is sincere and honest. It makes me sad to my core that that is a condition that we have, at least in modern day America. Um, but um, but yeah, and I've met quite a few people that were like, I can't get a read on you because I'm looking for your ulterior motives and I'm not finding any. And I'm like, that's because there aren't any. Like you're looking for something that literally isn't there. So you can convince yourself that there's something there and drive yourself crazy by not finding it, or you can accept what you see. It's up to you. I'm over here doing this. I'm doing this. You know, um, and that is a tough thing in the 21st century. I completely understand that. I really do. But I promise you, I expend a lot less energy now than I did when I was a teenager and I thought I had to be coy and secretive and keep things close to my chest. And the truth is, and I mean this, the absolute truth is, um, all of my greatest triumphs came when my cards were on the table. Now, a lot of my big failures came when my cards were on the table. And the part that I played in that was I was unwilling to recognize what was in front of me. Okay. Um, I took people at their words when their actions didn't live up to it. My bad, you know? Um, but all of my words and actions, especially as an adult, when they line up, I got less to explain. I got less to make up for. I have less to feel ashamed about. And my life is generally easier and I can enjoy more things, you know? So I just want you guys to keep that in mind. And I'm asking, don't let that type of thing die with you. All right? I want to give a major thanks to the people who showed up today. We're talking to Telecon, not a Ruthless Wonder, the Ruthless Wonder. Black and White now in color. Clever Little Vixen holding it down like you always do. F Top Player. Ladybug times three. Lana Ray! You should have said something when you got in. I wanted to say hi. Neon Arlecchino. Sora Freedom 270. And the War Mistress. Big hug. A big hug out to you, darling. Seriously, one day I'll probably end up being as good a painter as you are if I decide to work on it. I just don't know if that day is coming in the next 10 years. But with that, yeah, I am wrapping it up. Ha 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 ha. So, if you guys like what you see here, please subscribe. And yeah, please subscribe. And possibly, I don't know, head on over to the Patreon. You can find the link if you just scroll down and become a patron. With COVID in and all that stuff, and the fact that Christmas is coming up, stuff is getting kind of dire on this end. So I normally don't do the please help me, but yeah, right now, things are hurting. But if you got any questions, comments, compliments, all that stuff, um, I am going to say send me an email at backinthedeck@gmail.com. That's BACKINTHEDECK@gmail.com. Also, hit me up on the social media that everybody has, which is Instagram and Twitter. And if you were still part of that wretched hive of scum and villainy, known as Facebook, then join Deckers on the Book. Talk to us more often, not just during the time that I'm broadcasting. Who knows? You might find out that somebody knows how to make that thing that you've been looking for, or fix that thing you've been looking to fix, and all that stuff. We're all there. We talk all the time. Show us your makes, show us all that other stuff. But with that, I want to say thank you guys for showing up. Check out the War Mistress's Twitch channel at twitch.tv/ the.warmistress. And seriously, check out her stuff. She's seriously there. Like, she's the one that really made me want to get into orcs. Because I don't know anybody that took Orktober even like that seriously. And just, yeah, I'm all jelly and all that stuff. So with that, I'm going to say thank you guys for showing up. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you so much for the raid, Red Sage. And if anybody tells you that you can't like what you like because of the circumstances of your birth, be it race, religion, creed, gender identity, sexual orientation, your disability, or your budgets, because we all know the trailer park is never more than a couple of miles away from the projects, you tell them to take any of those cards and put them back in the deck. This is Solar Grey, the Cinematic Sorcerer, saying thank you guys, and we will see you next time on the dark side of the room.